October 1944 to August 1945. I had embarked as the junior member of General Douglas MacArthur's staff on the cruiser USS Nashville. I did not like warships, and in fact had enlisted in the Army to be away from them. They too often sank, and when they did, they brought their sailors with them, making cold steel, barnacled coffins deep in the yeasty surges of the Pacific. For those of us who had not aspired to military careers, such unhappy conclusions had been the subject of much conversation in the uncertain days that followed Pearl Harbor. Viewing our choices, the war boiled down to different ways of dying. Would it be worse to sink and drown, to fall like a shot quail from the air, or merely to crumble into the sweet grass from a bullet or artillery round? In January 1942, I had weighed these options and finally acquiesced to facing death in the dirt. Luckily for me, the Army took note of my ability to speak passing Japanese. Starved for such talent, they had sent me to language school instead of infantry training. I was then shipped immediately to the Pacific, where I spent 5 months as an interrogator translator and then was ordered to MacArthur's staff. I was a good staff officer, something of a natural diplomat, enthusiastically obedient and always thorough. MacArthur and his top generals had grown to like and trust me completely. But behind my smiling facade was a profound sense of unworthiness. Every morning as I reported to the general's headquarters for my day's orders, I reminded myself that if it had not been for this stroke of luck by which I had learned to speak Japanese, my war would have been more predictable and far more dangerous. Indeed, my younger brother had taken the more traditional family route, his 8 years of school and dumbifying Arkansas dialect ensuring him a role as an infantry private. As with my father and his father before him, he had turned into a brave and competent soldier, and he had died in June 1944, in a little town I had never heard of, during the invasion of France. No, I was not born to this. I had never even seen a city until the age of 14, when one bleak rain-winter morning my mother announced to us that my dead father had come to her in a dream and told her that we should leave Arkansas and go to California. The corn shucks in my makeshift mattress rustled under me as I rubbed my eyes awake, watching her busily pack 4 cotton bags. My father's grave lay in a small cemetery just above a thickly wooded cow pasture, marked only by a favorite rock. We visited it together before we departed. He had been dead less than a year, and I could still feel his presence, warm as a woolen sweater and filled with a knowing kindness that had disappeared from my life when they lowered his pine coffin into the hole. The morning after our bus arrived in Santa Monica, I stood on the pier and smelled the salt air and looked back toward the bluffs at the waves breaking over the sand and at the rows of lofty palm trees, and I will admit, I cried. It had been beyond my capacity even to imagine such beauty and contentment. I felt my father's warmth surround me, and I vowed that I would never let my mother leave. There were schools, I was smart, and just as important, at least for me, I discovered that I had a knack for football. 3 years later, Mother was stunned beyond amazement to find that top universities throughout the state were vying for the right to pay my way through college. I chose the University of Southern California because it was near Mother, and I could help her on the weekends. She found work in a defense plant, and after mobilization, worked 12-hour shifts as a riveter, her small size ideal for climbing into the narrow nose sections of military aircraft. My brother was studying to become an electrician, knowing he would soon be called into the Army. Life was good in California, and the coming war only helped us. Just off the campus, a Japanese family ran a grocery store. I was 19 in my second year at Southern Cal when I first saw Kozuko. She was standing in front of her father's store, arranging a sidewalk display of fruits and vegetables. She went about her work with such a proud and careful delicacy that she might have been arranging lush exotic flowers into a grand vase. But when she looked up and saw me, she smiled. I was enormously shy, still conscious of my full-voweled Arkansas accent and my unvarnished social etiquette.